Okay, let's create a snake game. And I think it should look something like this when it's done. Let's put up a board here so we can talk about it. So we have our snake, and it has a head and a body. So that's our snake. And the snakes eat food. There's plus signs. So if the head of the snake ever is over the plus sign, the body should be lengthened by 1. If the head is ever over border, or if the head ever crosses over the snake body, then it's game over. So to make this work, we first need to draw the empty board, then we need to draw the border, then we need to draw the food, and then we need to draw the snake, and we need to draw the snake in reverse order. So start with the tail, and up with the body and the head. And when we're drawing the head, if the head intersects the body or the border, it's game over. So let's try doing that. So we need a board of size, that's columns times rows. And we need those defined to size. So we have 10. Row, 10 of those. And then we need a snake, of course, but let's fill in this and draw it first. So let's start with creating the board. So fill board. And here we need X and Y for X is 0, X less than rows. Where is the columns? It's columns. There we go. And another direction. Y. So if X is 0 or Y is 0 or X is columns minus 1 or Y are rows minus 1, then we are at the border. We need to fill in that. So on our board we need to fill in something at Y times col plus X that's our border. And then I think a function to print this to see if it worked. And to print this we can steal this code. Instead of filling something in, we can just print it out. So we print each cell of the board. And then line break also, so we print one row and then the next one. So we have fill board, print board. Let's see what I did wrong. Warning, X is initialized. There we go. That's some other warning. Put is defined in is it con.io? Guessing here it was some time ago I did this. So did it start? No. Successful. Okay. Oh, it exited. Okay. So there we go. Have the border. And since that worked, let's make it bigger. And that worked great. So should we make the snake now? The snake. Read the keyboard. We read the keyboard. So get character, switch on character, case W, move snake, X and Y. So we move the snake 0 on left to right, but up and down we move it up. I should move it down at some point. Some other point we want to move it left and right. Let's fill in the letters. There we go. So I have a function for move snake. We don't really have a snake, so we have to fill in that later. But now we can read the keyboard. I wanted to read the keyboard because after that we can do a while loop here, so we keep printing that board. That's what I wanted right now. We have the board, press something and we prints out a new board. So we should do this until it's not game over. So let's put one here. Is game over? No, it's not game over yet. We need to print the snake, draw the snake. Let's just draw the snake at any position, just to test it out. Or and we had the formula up here to access the different cells on the board. So let's draw the snake head. There we go. It would be nice if I call the function also. So we fill the board, we print the board. Draw the snake probably. Since it's called fill the board, maybe draw the snake is because the drawing is the print the board here, so maybe should be called something else. There we go, the snake head. And on move, we go. So we can now move the snake. And notice that I don't clear the board, which probably would be a good idea in between, so it just overwrites. So let's fix that. So we fill the board. Don't fill the board, clear the board. Does not. Just draws the board around it. There we go. Now the snake head is moving along nicely. You see the old board up here. I'll go down there. I don't like that, so let's get rid of that. Let's imprint board. Let's do a clear screen here. And actually it can be pretty annoying to clear the screen, and there are different ways to do it, but we're going to do it in a hack way. We're going to execute an external command that clears our screen for us. I think, I'm not sure, you can do it like this on Linux and Mac. Or you can use ANSI codes to clear the screen, but I don't know the ANSI code in my head. And there is a function for Windows to do it also, but I don't have those libraries for the moment. So there we go. Can move the snake head around. So now we need a snake body. We need to keep track of the body of the snake. So we need a struct snake part. That's int x and y. And we need a snake that has a length and has a few snake parts or body parts then. Let's call it body part. Or just part. Because why not? And we need a max size. Snake max length. Let's define that to max length of 256, hard code in that. Then we need to modify where we're using this, of course. Remove this. Now we want to compile. And we would draw the snake. We need to draw it from the tail. So we have, remove that. We need an int for e is, we need to define our snake. Struct snake. And we need to initialize that to something, of course. I will do that later. So we have our snake length. That should be bigger than 0, can be 0 also. And since we're counting with offset 1, length 1 means index 0, length 10 means index 9, so we need to take -1 there, bigger or equal to 0. Then we should go snake part. That's the last part. The information on the last part should be moved to the second last part of the snake. Sorry, this is a draw. I'm thinking about the movie. I'm thinking in front of me here. We should just draw it, of course. Forgot about it. Still needs to draw from the end, so that's fine. First we draw the body, and then we need to end with drawing the head. That is of course just 0. In that case we can skip 0 up here. We not need to include 0. Hopefully this draws a snake. We draw the snake there, okay, but we need to create the snake here, so snake length 1, snake part x is 5, and y is also 5. Save the move, we need to update. Just start with moving the head and nothing else. There we go. Let's see if I have errors. And I do have errors. And it draws something there on the wrong spot, I have to say, and jumps around at least. So something is working or not working. I need to go and check for my food. Be right back. Yeah, it needs 15 minutes more, so it's fine. So now it's time to debug then. Why didn't it work? Set the length to 1. Set the... There we go. At least it was easy. So where is the snake? Not exactly what I wanted. So read the keyboard. Move the snake. Let's check this W should be up. That's X and that's Y. Moving up on Y. S is down. It's correct. Left and right is correct. And should of course modify the same part, modify the 0 and 1. Same arrows as on the other side. So still jumps around a lot. So it should not set it there, it should just plus it. There we go. I just should zoom in. There we go, it's moving around, but it's not the head that's drawn. So why doesn't it draw the head? There we go. Head of the snake. Now let's try making the snake longer. And what happens when I try to move it? Only the head moves. Read keyboard. Move snake. Only the head moves, of course. So here we need to move the head and the body. The head we know that's from our cursor, but the body we don't really know how to move. The body should follow the head, so I guess the last part of the snake should move to the part before that, and so on until we get to the head, and the head moves one step extra regarding the keys we pressed. So we need to iterate through the... Didn't I do that already? Need to iterate backwards through the body parts of the snake, I would say. Editing me here. At this part I was kind of stuck and confused for 10 minutes, so I skip over that part. Okay, I had a bit of thought about it. Of course I can't overwrite the part I need later, so it has to be that the next last part is moved to the last one. And then we need to iterate through it in reverse order. Has to be like that. But I could also be wrong. So now we have a snake moving around. Now we need some food to be placed out, and when we run over the food, the snake needs to grow. So let's start with place some food someplace on the board just for fun. We're overwriting the board there though, so place food. There we go. See if we have food. We have it, and it's next to the snake, which might not be ideal to start with, and when we run over it, we need to extend the snake. Could place it in a spot that's actually easy to get to. That should be in front of the snake when it's starting out. And it's not, because I swapped these around, apparently. There we go. Yeah. So how do we detect that the snake has found some food? Could detect it in the draw function, should really be its own function. Because after the draw we have already overdrawn the board, so we can't just pick the food directly from there. And we could do a struct with a food, compare against that. Yep, I actually think we will make a struct for the food. And we have, how many food pieces should we have to start with? Should be configurable, I guess. Should be number of food or something like that, number of pieces, but foods seems like be more than one, right? Maybe it's different kinds of foods. Maybe it ain't. So there we go. And then we need to know if it's consumed already or not. So then we have the draw the snake, place food, which could be called the draw food then instead of place. Place food, just draw. With an iterator for 0 until get to foods. There we go. And then we're going to draw on the board if food piece consumed. If it's not consumed, I will draw food piece at placement Is that correct? I think it's correct. And then we need to set up a few pieces of food. Should we call that setup food? So it needs to be a function that random puts out some food pieces, but let's start with just hard coding in it. So for number of foods here, food consumed. 0 means false, means it's not consumed. 0, 1 means that it is consumed. So need random. Actually, I do not remember how that function works. I need to look it up. Look it up on my other screen here. Random. It's a void. Okay, so that's correct, but we need to seed the random first. We need to include standard lib. And we have standard lib, that's fine. I think we normally can seed it with time if I'm not remembering wrong. Let's check that on also. Maybe it isn't time. I do think we can seed it with time. We try it. So we need to surround with time. I think that's how it works. And the random spits out an int between what? Random function returns a pseudo random integer in the range 0 to round max inclusive. Okay. Columns and rows, okay. So we could say, I know this is not really perfect randomization, but it's good enough for this. So we take the modulus of columns minus 2 and x is 1 plus that, so we're skipping the walls. And we could actually end up with a food piece in the same position as another food. That is not perfect, but like everything else, let's try it. Well, that worked better than I thought. We just need to see if the snake hits a food piece, and if the snake do that, then consume that piece and grow the snake. So we have a bug here, but let's ignore that. Can stop printing this because that worked, and call length score instead. I'm taking times 100 because it looks nicer. And maybe we should random where the snake starts in the same way. I mean, the snake could end up on a food piece to start with. Wonder if that's something I should control for or not. So there we go, we have a setup snake. Because that's basically what this is, right? So I make a function for it. Oil setup snake. There we go. And just the head of the snake. Now we need to grow the snake. So we can put in that here maybe. Game logic. Should we call it rules? I mean, it's a rule that if you hit food and you eat it, right? So that makes sense. Game rules. Then iterate over all foods. food consumed. It's not consumed if food's position equals snake's head. Then the snake, of course, will eat the food. So food consumed true. That's one game rule. Let's check it out. Error. Let's eat that one. And it worked perfect. Look. Happy. Can almost call it a game now. Do we have a score? No, we did not have a score. Okay, well, Snakehead is eating the food at least. Not the walls, okay. Need to stop that also so Snake can't pass through walls. That kinda sucks, and increase the score. I do think I want to score on top of the board instead of beneath it, so let's do that. Okay, so when we eat the food, we also have the snake length should get longer. And we also have the body should get longer. This becomes a problem because where should that next body part be located? Let's see. Oh, look. Just worked. So I guess it's initialized to be at location 0, 0, but when we move the head the next time here, then it's going to fill in the tail of the snake. On the snake game, I see doesn't print as I wanted. I wanted to print a score above this thing, so print it and then print the board. I guess the printing of the board do a clear on the screen. Let's move the clear down here instead. And if I have a snake game, I have a score on top. Oh, works wonderful. I shouldn't be able to run into the snake either, so that needs to be fixed. But let's fix the borders and the game over criteria, so we can't run in the border. And that's in game rules, of course. So if snake part, first part, which is the head, if that is 0, meaning it's in the wall, or if it columns -1, which means it's in the other wall, and same thing for the top and bottom wall. first one was left and right. And we set this game over. And we're checking for game over already. So then we just can write out print I'm actually not going to write it off, so we're going to write it. Let's see where we should write that one. Let's write it after there. Game over. Final score. And then we actually need a little bit of ugly code. Because since I'm pressing on the keyboard, I probably will just quit the program. For it will go out from this while, it will print game over, and I just return and terminate the program. And that's not what we want. We want the person to see that it's game over. We just print game over final score, and then we go into a while that never ends, so we need to close the window. And apparently we should include time.h also, so let's do that. There we go. So let's run into the wall, but eat something first. Let's run into the wall. That's the same game over. It said game over, but not until I pressed the key an extra time. So it do to execute the game rules, and then down here it reads the keyboard, and that's wrong. This should only be done if game over. If it isn't game over, then we're reading the keyboard. There we go. And I walk into the wall, game over, final score, and then it doesn't matter what I do on the keyboard. So I need to just close it. There. No, that's perfect. Then we need a criteria if I run into my own tail. That's also game over. And then I need to go through the length of the snake and make sure that that isn't on the same location as the body. So 4 let's see, snake length I++. So if snake part 0, which is the head, then is on the same place that some other part, then we have a problem. And I know I typed 1 there instead of what I should have done. I do see that. There we go. Is game over. Let's try that. And that didn't work at all. Okay, editing me again. Apparently I managed to trigger a breakpoint that stopped the program and was sitting there confused for 5 minutes, so I skipped that part. Let's execute it again. I think it's just it was an enabled breakpoint. There we go. I probably just clicked in the breakpoint by mistake. So now it works. Of course we need final score when you've eaten everything also. Let's try to run into the snake. Game over. Okay, so that worked. Then we just need a little bit bigger area to play on. And a lot more food. 50? Yeah, that's a lot more. This might actually be tricky. Because the snake is going to be quite long in the end, right? So I'm going to put this code, I think in GitHub. It's possible to just download and test out for yourself. And the link will be in the description.